Engineers Without Borders was founded in the year 2000 by CEOs George Roter and Parker Mitchell. They had over 1,000 members by the end of their first year, and their first volunteer went overseas to India in the year 2001. They emphasized something called unlearning, where instead of telling people how to solve their problems, you listen to the needs of the communities you're trying to help. You begin by understanding your role as an engineer without borders. They often ask themselves what their Dorothy is, which is not a generalization of all the people that they help, but rather a motivation to remember that they are helping both communities and individuals.
So the process of initiating a project can differ a little bit depending on the scale of EWB that you're looking at. Our national office kind of works as an incubator for ventures running overseas in African communities, and they look for leaders who have sort of pitched their own projects that will create systemic change. And they do go through a selection process. I don't know all the details, but that's where the national office is looking. Within our chapter, we have a couple of portfolios that we work in. These include engineering education reform, youth engagement, fair trade, member learning. And so within that, we go through the same kind of pitching process. If somebody comes to the chapter and has an idea for a project, they'll give us a little spiel on it, tell us the kind of resources that will be needed. And typically we'll pick projects that really have an extended reach or have been thought of. It has been thought a lot about by the pitcher of the project, how the specific impacts are going to scale up or affect the community as a whole. So really looking at this systemic aspect of it and how those things will take effect.
Engineers Without Border has been working to identify and scale up innovative approaches to improve access to clean water in Malawi. 40% of all water points in Malawi don't work, causing deaths from waterborne diseases. Families cannot safely drink or cook, and water points are poorly mapped, causing wells and boreholes to be located too close to one another. There are several poorly functioning wells, so safe water is not available for long, and 90% of water points fail within the first 3 years. Engineers Without Borders' focus is to develop innovative solutions to map, monitor, and repair water points. A critical step towards improving clean water was mapping and monitoring water points. Volunteers documented the locations of several water points across the country and created an innovative tool to monitor and the life cycle of hand pumps, wells, and boreholes. When this is completed, EWB will have mapped and monitored over 1/3 of all water points in Malawi. Going forward, building, operation, and maintenance will be important since the majority of new water points are broken. However, communities need access to materials and repair training. EWB partnered with InterAid and implemented a system to accomplish the training. They were able to identify a starting model and are constantly seeking ways to make improvements. In summary, EWB has identified the root problems and came up with innovative solutions, and their aim in the long run is to decrease the number of faulty water points from 40% to 10% in the next 5 years.
So Engineers Without Borders brings different disciplines together by kind of their bottom line of trying to make everyone involved in the organization, systems change leaders. And what that means is like teaching them different skills that kind of cross the bridges between disciplines. So we have a lot of engineers involved, and their strength is kind of the problem solving and critical thinking. We also have a lot of political science majors or international development who are very interested in the poverty side of things or the policy side of things. And it's really about bringing everyone together, learning from each other, and how we can solve problems with all of these different skills. That's what EWB really focuses on.
The Kwangu Kwako project, which translates to My Place, Your Place, started in 2015 in order to provide safer, healthier, more secure housing to the people living in informal settlements, primarily in Nairobi, Kenya. 1.4 million people, approximately 60% of the city's population, live in the 200 plus informal settlements which occupy just 6% of the land. The homes are currently made of iron sheets around a wooden frame. They are often poorly built, insecure, and in overpopulated environments. Because of the way the houses are built and how close together they are, a fire can spread quickly. In a 3-month span back in 2011, 25,000 people in the slums of Nairobi lost their homes to a fire. The Kwangu Kwako project endeavored to build safer, stronger houses out of concrete instead of wood and metal like the current houses. The concrete comes from the locals, therefore helping the local economy and also showing the citizens that the problems they face can be solved locally. The EWB solution resulted in creating jobs, reducing fire hazards, improving the standard of living, and saving lives and possessions for hundreds of thousands of people. The Engineers Without Borders solution resulted in creating jobs, reducing fire hazards, improving the standard of living, and saving lives and possessions for hundreds of thousands of people.
Voto Mobile was started in Ghana in 2012. Now it is serving 200,000 people in 22 countries. The project's goal was to create a communication platform to connect over 3 billion people living in poverty with companies, organizations, and each other. Voto Mobile eliminates the barriers of distance, language, literacy, social norms, and power dynamics. The engineers behind Voto Mobile have designed a world-class engagement platform capable of calling any phone on the planet and available from any browser. Notable achievements of the platform include Ebola intervention design, Voices for Peace, and mobile health behavior change. The platform also allowed for national polls in Nigeria, Uganda, and India for better understanding of healthcare needs.
So a great example of that is our youth engagement venture. We have a lot of our engineering students actually working in this, and the objective of the venture itself is to get students coming through their high school careers to think more systemically and think more critically, and think of it more like an engineer in the problem-solving sense, but not necessarily applied in a technical way. So we went out into a bunch of schools and kind of initiated a program that taught some of these skills. We also tried to engage the education community by partnering with people in the education department and people who are more involved with the policies in education. And it was really cool to see all the different perspectives and different disciplines come together for better youth engagement. So my favorite project that I worked on with Engineers Without Borders is something called the Run to End Poverty. It's a big fundraising event that we do every fall. We all get together, make a big team, and do this fundraising run. And it's great because it really shows off EWB to the community. We connect with a lot of other people on a different level than we normally would, just as kind of people who are out there in the community. We get a lot of questions about what EWB does, and it's a fun time just running with everyone. So I've helped organize this for a couple of years, and it's been probably my favorite.